Good morning Year 3 and welcome to day 3 of our focus on calculation. Pause the video. Here are the answers to yesterday's questions. Hopefully you didn't find them too tricky. Again, if there was any problem, please go onto the maths blog and leave any questions there and I can help you out. So set your timer, pause the video. Here's today's Fluent in 5. And the answers. So back at the start of the week, this was our column addition question that we looked at when we were doing a bit of a practice of column addition. Yesterday we looked at how we could check the answer using rounding. Today we're going to look at how we can check the answer using the inverse operation. Now again, this is something that we have touched on in Year 3, but we tend to call it looking at number fact families. So possibly when you were in Year 2 you may have looked at simple number sentences and you would have to come up with all of the number fact families, number sentences that you could. This is similar, but we're using bigger numbers and looking at column addition and column subtraction. So I know if I add 278 and 435, my answer is 713. A really useful way to check is if we start off with the number that we've made when we've added these two amounts together, 713, we can take one of them away again and we should be left with the other, because when we add two amounts together, our number gets bigger, and then when we take away from that number, we're left with the smaller or one of the smaller numbers. But these two together make this one, so if we take one away, we're left with the other. This is using the inverse operation. So inverse means opposite. So the inverse of addition is subtraction, and the inverse of subtraction is addition. They are the opposite operations. So have a look at these number sentences. What do you notice about them? So 14 plus 21 equals 35. We know we can also write that as 21 plus 14 because we're still adding the same two numbers together. We're just writing it in a different order, but we'll still get the same answer. If we take the bigger number, we can then take one of these amounts away and we'll be left with the other amount. And this is our number fact family that we spoke about earlier on. Really important to remember when you are adding together, because you are bringing two lots of numbers together, your answer will be the biggest part of the number sentence. When you're taking away, you start with the biggest number and then you are removing from that. So your part that you're taking away and your answer will be smaller. And that's a really good way to check whether you've got the correct number sentence. Looking at the operation, looking to see where the biggest number is. If I had something take away 14 take away 21 and the answer was 35 here, I would know I've got a subtraction operation here. The biggest number should be at the start of that number sentence. So pause the video, see if you can make some number facts up using this number sentence. So hopefully you'll have come up with these four number sentences. 45 plus 24 equals 69, adding, so the biggest part of the number sentence is at the end. Again, another addition. And then when we're subtracting, the biggest number, 69, take away 45 equals 24, and take away 24 equals 40. And then I've given you one more number sentence that I would like you to write the rest of the number facts for on your own, and maybe you can ask someone else to check that for you. So I've got a number problem here. I'm going to show you how I'm going to check it using the inverse. I am thinking of a number. So here is the number I'm thinking of. It's a question mark. I add 10 to my new number, and my new number is 45. So what was the number at the start? So I didn't know my number at the beginning, but I added 10 to it and I know what the answer was. So what plus 10 equals 45? Well, I know that if I use my inverse operation, 45, take away this number, will leave me with the answer. On a number line, 45 counting back 10 will leave me with the answer. And I know that 45 take away 10 is 35. So my starting number was 35. And again, I can check it now. If I start at 35 here, add on 10, I've got 45. Therefore, we know that the number at the start is 35, and we've checked it using the inverse. So, we've got a number of tasks for you to do here. I'd like you to think of the number sentences for each of these addition and subtraction number sentences. Some of you may be able to write some other number facts. I'm going to give you a hint. What would happen if you multiplied each of the numbers in this number sentence by 10? Can you write some number facts like that? I'd also like you to fill in the missing numbers using your knowledge of inverse operations. So 24 plus what equals 100? What can we do using the inverse to help us find these answers? And then we've got some word problems rather here, that I'd like you to carry out much like the one I just showed you, maybe using a number line to help you. And we'll give you the answers tomorrow.